And we're back. PFL World Tournament number 9 here. I believe we have 3 championship fights. I'm joined by my man, Joey DFS. Joey, how you doing? How you feeling? How you living?
Hey, man, I'm feeling pretty good because this is our first fight back since going to the PFL, and that was lit as fuck.
Let's do a little recap, though. We got to do a little recap of that night.
Yes,
we ended up cashing a sweaty-ass 2-leg parlay of Jordan Newman and Thad Gene, as Thad Gene ended up becoming the champ. And then we ended up hitting Molvig Kubia Live and the over 1.5 same-game parlay for some good plus money. Me and you collabed on a play in person, but the gummies were smacking because we did not get Jacob Kazuba and Sergio Casio under 2.5. That was basically like a pick 'em. And then Nathan Kelly, that was just a bad read. Should have just stayed off of that fight. That was like really the only loser of the card. I had a really good night. I had Tommy Pergulio by knockout rounds 1 or 2. Were talking about it heavily on the show. And that ended up rolling. That's off the top of my memory. Joey, how'd you end up doing?
Outside of that, fight that didn't go under 2.5. That stunk. I should have planted my flag on fucking Move It. I was confident. I put good money on that bitch. And then I'm like, I didn't do it. But one thing I'm excited about the most, we got to see our dude, Bad fucking Gene, win that shit. And even though I had the knockout prop, he could have had it a couple times. And look, I'm just glad my boy won. And he's going to be the future PFL. And Move It, whoever's going against him, y'all better work on your takedown defense because if not, you're fucked.
Yeah, I don't want to sound too biased, but I feel like after going to a PFL event in person, it's kind of made me like the organization a little bit more than what I did in the past. I can kind of see what they're trying to do in the future that they're doing. And a lot of these events, I kind of see why Danny always goes to them now because that shit was lit. Me and Gabe were talking about it, a walk on the boardwalk. We were talking about how it felt like we're watching like like we're at like a kickback with the homies watching the fights. Hopefully this weekend's the same exact thing. As we get to the first fight of the night, featherweight division, this fight was supposed to be in Atlantic City, but now I believe we're in Charlotte, North Carolina for this week. Damian Nelson versus Isaiah Diggs. And the good old sportsbook thing that they like to do is give you a line and then see how people bet the line, then remake the fight. And Isaiah Diggs was like minus 550 the week that we're him and Tommy Pagulio were the same exact line. I remember that the beginning of that fight week, and I thought it was fucking crazy. And that's what made me like Pagulio. But now, different week, different circumstances. How are you feeling about this one? I'm gonna let the guest take it away, Joey DFS. How are you feeling about Isaiah Diggs all the way down to 225 this week?
I like this price tag a lot better than that minus 5. Because that minus 5, we were talking about, bro, do we take a shot on Nelson? That's a big fucking tag. And now I'm getting a more affordable, which I still think it's a little teeny little high, but at the same time, it's a lot better than the minus 5 because how Nelson does lose is he gets taken down and he's primarily a decision loser. 3 out of the 4 are by decision. I saw an interview today from Diggs that he's trying to keep. I wouldn't even say trying. TC in the building. What's up, my brother from another mother?
TC.
I saw an interview. Diggs said that he wants to get a finish on this card. As a pro, he hasn't got the finish. In the amateur, you saw him getting a couple knockouts here and there. Could he get the finish if he, works on the ground, maybe get some ground and pound? It's possible, but I am going Diggs. I like the more affordable line at minus 225, and maybe I'll put it in a little 2-leg. Now, I'm not going to put no long shot parlay. Then I have Diggs my first line, and I'm like, bro, if you don't wrestle, I'm screwed. But, yeah, I got Diggs, though.
Yeah, this one, Ohio native and former Colorado State wrestler here, standout Isaiah Diggs, makes his PFL promotional debut. The first thing that stands out about Isaiah Diggs as a negative of the reason why you probably see this line going down, I mean, dude's a 5'5" fucking featherweight, bro. That's wild, bro. And I hate to say this like this because we try to keep these breakdowns a little bit more professional, a little bit more serious. But, bro, 5'5" is like bitch height. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like the size of like your triggers and shit like that. But he has to like crowd space and be aggressive to get off on his opponent. Late starter in MMA, and you can kind of see it within his grappling. It's more of ground and pound damage than trying to get control time. And promotions, I feel like in the lower level ones, he can kind of get away with that. But it felt like in his last fight, I believe it was for the Cage Thunder title. I have it written down in my notes. He showed great cardio fighting all 5 rounds, but he lacked some fight IQ where it felt like he could have finished that opponent throughout the whole entire fight. His opponent this week, Nelson, a Sarah Longo MMA prospect. The question is what version of him is going to show up. Offensively, he could definitely land, but defensively, he's very hittable. We haven't really seen his wrestling tested too much, but Sarah Longo fighters do have good grappling fundamentals. He started off his career 4-4, beating former UFC fighter Don Shanis like last year. Nathan Kelly, I don't know. I felt like when he was lined on the Challenger Series against Damian Nelson, he was minus 300. So seeing Isaiah Diggs at this price tag, I couldn't get behind it at minus 500, but now we're talking about a different price tag range at 225. All 5 of Isaiah Diggs' regional scene fights have gone the distance. I'm interested to see where this total is going to be at, but I think there's value on the over, and I think the pick for me is going to be Isaiah Diggs by decision, 29-28. I think he's going to pick this one up by decision. I think 225 is a bettable price range. I think he could definitely have the upside of finishing in this one. I think it's a good money line now that we're talking about 225 and not minus fucking 500.
One thing I can say is he's also a training partner of Elijah Smith. So he's definitely getting the good overall rounds in.
Yes. We talked about good old Elijah Smith last week. I guess I am on Elijah Smith bandwagon now after last week catching that ticket for me. But let's talk about welterweight division because I'm going to start this one up here. Welterweight division, we're going Kennedy St. Louis versus Chris Mixon. And this is a story I've been literally saving for weeks now to tell you about because this is how I knew that you were a little bit high when we got done after watching the fights and everybody else was all turned up. Because if you remember, Kennedy St. Louis is one of Thad Jean's teammates, and you talk about no aura. We literally walked past him in Atlantic City on the boardwalk with a group of people, and nobody recognized Kennedy St. Louis. Bro, I'm talking about no bullshit. We literally walked right the fuck by him, and he had like a gym drawstring bag, and the only thing that gave it away was the thing that he wears, the headband that he usually wears around his head. And I was dead shocked that nobody like pointed out or recognized it. But my point being here is St. Louis was fortunate enough to get the remainders of what Thad Jean had left on Berkmanov. But Chris Mixon, I don't think he should be counted out at this price tag here at plus 235. He won on the Challenger Series in the PFL a couple years ago, and he's a very big welterweight at 6'1". And if this stays on the feet standing, I think Chris Mixon has the ability to look like the favorite here. My pick here is going to be Chris Mixon, first underdog pick of me for the night and probably for a while here. But, Joey, how are you feeling about this one? And how do you feel about that story I told you about Kennedy St. Louis, that you literally were with a group of like 6 or 7 people and nobody recognized them? And
walking down the boardwalk, he was on the side?
Yeah, he was on the side. Like, if you remember, after the fight, if you ever hung out with me, I got to smoke a lot. But we smoked, and when I was smoking, we walked past the left section, and it was all Thad Jean's fans and shit like that. To the right was Kennedy St. Louis walking past. You guys didn't even peep that shit.
Hell no, I was too turned off for that. But yeah, like Kennedy, he's a good wrestler. He's strong as shit. But he better fucking wrestle. That's all I'm going to tell people. You're going to see some of these price tags on wrestlers and think, oh, I don't need to wrestle. You better wrestle against Mixon. Once he finds that rhythm in his boxing, he lets his hands go. And before I even got on here, I was watching his last fight versus Joey Hart. He didn't even put a lot of power into that left hook. I didn't even know what the fuck he hit him with until I saw the replay. He hit him with a short bitty bop. As you said on last week on Saturday, we got bitty bopped. But, yeah, if Mixon finds that rhythm and stops takedown early, I think he is live. And I thought I was going to be the only one on Mixon, but I'm also on the dog too. It's a +2. I got plus 240. Yeah, I might have to put a little bet on that. And if you're undecided on this fight, there's two. I think there's another way you can play it. Fight doesn't go to decision because if St. Louis does get the wrestling and tire out Mixon, he is the superior grappler, and he does have 5 submission wins, so he could be live for maybe a round 2, round 3 submission. But yeah, I got Mixon.
I like it. I thought I was going to be on a little bit of an island there because the way Kennedy St. Louis looked in his last bout kind of shitted in my 2-leg parlay. Had Berkmanov on that card. But let's talk about this bantamweight fight here. Renat Kavialov versus Vilson. We're just going to say Vilson here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name, but he's from North Jersey, though. Yep. How are you breaking down this bantamweight bout here on the preliminary card here?
Another striker versus wrestler. You can tell by the last name, the OV, the boy can wrestle. And he's okay striking. He's not terrible per se, but his bread and butter is the chain style wrestling takedowns, get control time, and he's actually pretty good to ground and pound. He has 6 knockout wins. And I think he's going to mix it up on Vilson here. Let me see what his last name is. And Joni. I think I was close enough. If I got it, if not. But
well, it's Albanian. Albanian's one.
I'm a little bit Albanian, so like that's why I was trying to break it down into it. But yeah, I got the Russian here. I honestly think he can be down a weight class, and I think he can still dominate. But he feels comfortable not cutting so much, and he just puts on a good pace on fighters. I don't know if it's gonna be a knockout, but if it is, maybe it's like round 3. But I think he's pretty much gonna win a decision.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those price tags where like it's a little wide, but I think it's wide because I think he's going to win this fight pretty easily. It might not be inside the distance or the type of performance that you're going to remember, but he's one of the more skilled bantamweights outside of the UFC, I would say. He had a good showing of himself coming off a 2-year layoff. He was the Eagle FC bantamweight champion. I feel like this is more of a fight to keep him active throughout the season. Vilson has a good regional scene. He's like a good regional scene prospect vet, but like, I don't know. Like, it feels like for him to win, I just don't think his grappling is going to keep up enough to not concede control time in this fight. Like, I like that's the reason why I just feel like it's not a sexy price tag. It's not a price tag that's going to make you a bunch of money. It's not a price tag that's going to swing your parlay or anything like that. But it does feel like one of the more like we'll talk about the chick fight next. Like I kind of feel a little bit better about the Russian that I seen fight than the chick here that we're about to talk about next. But these boys. Or like the only scare would be if these boys end up throwing down, they start throwing bombs. Like I don't think that's the smartest game plan for Renat Kavialov. I think he'd just get top position here and just ride this one out and maybe get a finish in the later rounds. I'm kind of with you on that. But let's talk about this flyweight bout. Women's flyweight, Sabrinnna De Sousa versus Sare Ozoka. Probably jacking up that girl's name, but I don't think she's going to fight in the PFL after this fight anyway. So what does it really matter? It's one of those type of fights like the 8-7 record is definitely an eye sticker, but I think this is going to be one of the more lopsided matchups, not in experience, but within skill. I just don't think Ozorka offers enough on the ground when it comes to grappling or striking. She's just not aggressive enough for my liking. It's clear as day what the PFL is trying to do in this particular scenario, and that's get this Sabrinnna De Sousa girl a win, as she's supposed to be like one of their upcoming prospects. But while she's inexperienced, I think her grappling skills is the reason why this price tag's high, like really, really high at -1,200. I think she's just going to get a submission early in this fight. Now, how this fight plays out after, I don't know, but probably be interested to see where that submission line comes out at. But I think the reason why this is -1,200 is because she's going to get a submission very early in this fight. How do you feel about this one, Joe?
Yeah, one thing I wrote down in my notes, she had a pretty good dominant amateur career. I think she had 15-0 in the amateurs. Like, this girl has fighting experience. She finally decided to go pro. 2 knockouts, 1 sub, 100% finish rate. I think she's okay on the feet, but, when someone's this type of young, I think she could definitely develop. But her bread and butter is not when or if. Because if she gets a hold of you, you are going to go for a ride. You're going to get put on your ass. And as you said, I'm actually going to wait to see what the submission prop is. I think it's going to happen early, especially if they're both dry. I might sprinkle round one sub because when she does get you on the ground, she's aggressive, attacking, trying to loosen you up, and then she does go for the overall kill, the submission. Yeah, I think De Sousa is going to run through this girl.
Yeah, I have the same exact feeling as well, but it's like one of those ones of like we got to see where the props come out at. But let's talk about this lightweight division because the last fight for Muhammad Ali's grandson here by Baggio Ali Walsh was a fucking shit show. Let's talk about it, though. He's minus 500 this week against Mr. Adrian Grundy. Joey, I'll let you take this one away. How do you feel about this one? Because I don't think I'm qualified to talk about an Ali Walsh fight after I called him a lock the last time he fought.
So I'm going to say this. You're not going to say the word. I'm going to say the word. I think he's a lock on this card. And if they come back to bite me, then start doing bare knuckle, bro. Because I think you can really fuck people up in bare knuckle. But the only reason why I say that, because if you look at Grundy, yeah, he's 3-1 as a pro. But if you go back to look at his amateur career, he went 5-4. He's been knocked out. He's been submitted. But he is primarily a striker also. And you're giving me the better striker minus 500. I think it's, if you're someone that got scared off that fight to where he was like a minus 12, minus 1,300 favorite. And then round 2, he didn't fight the submission and got subbed. I don't think you're going to have to worry about that in this fight because I think Ali Walsh knows I think this boy is going to strike with me. You know what's going to happen? They're going to give me my second knockout win in the promotion. Inside the first 2 rounds, I think he's going to knock this guy out.
I literally parlayed Ali Walsh and Phil Davis, and it was like minus 145 or something like that. And it closed north of minus 300 on that 2-leg parlay. Like I played it right before we recorded one of the Locker Room Talk podcast episodes on Tuesday afternoon, and that parlay closed at minus like 325, and both legs lost. That last fight was definitely a learning experience for Ali Walsh. It was the first pro loss that he suffered in his career, and it exposed a big hole in this game, which is his grappling defense is terrible. I mean, not being a natural wrestler, late bloomer in MMA, he played college football, I believe. A lot of red flags in the regional scene is if these bums are able to get grappling success off of you. But if there is a step down in competition or a redemption spot, I definitely feel like this is the matchup here against Grundy. I expect this to be more of a striker versus striker matchup, one of those type of fights that I think Ali Walsh still has the advantages everywhere as he continues to take fights at this level. I think you can win this by knockout or a unanimous decision here, but I think the goal here would probably be a knockout to get back onto the bandwagon. I think there's a good spot for him here. How much can you really do with minus 500? But this line originally opened up at one bet online at minus 220 and it got steamed. So I think that's telling you everything you need to know here. But probably a good parlay piece when you start considering the way this card's shaping out, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. Before we get to the next fight, my man Swig Betts, what's up, Swig? Lucky Power, what's up, man? Lucky, you ready for these fights tomorrow, my boy? But yeah, I think this is a fight where he's got to rebound, and he's gonna be like, look. They brought me in to knock folks out. What happens? I think Grundy's going to get hit. So I'm actually curious. If you want to be safer, I don't know what the over-under is going to be. It might be a 1.5 line. If it's a good line, you can get 1.5, but I think it might be a little bit juiced because I think they're going to expect that Walsh is going to go in there and just start swinging early.
I would stay away from the 1.5 line. I don't think this dude's just smoking people out in fights and shit like that, to be honest with you. Could he? But yes, but I rather just use the minus 500 as a parlay piece because he's got to show me a little something out of that last one. I don't think I want to be going too crazy on some fucking Muhammad. He ain't Muhammad Ali. He's just great for a reason. Next fight though, Juliana Velasquez versus Jena Shakalova, women's flyweight division. I'll let Joey take this one away because Joey had a hot take that he was on Juliana Velasquez, and that came all crashing down when Shakalova came in there and got a first-round finish. Are you spinning the block, or is Jenny too hot here? Are you going with Shakalova, or are you going with Juliana Velasquez?
I'm trying to think if I swear I know I had a bet because that was like we all saw her. She was fighting 2 weight classes above, and I was like, how's she gonna look? She made weight with no problem. She took one takedown and she fucking won the fight. I was like, that was the easiest plus money I've ever fucking had in a fight. And now for Velasquez, now she's getting a rematch to see. You know, she's 1-4 in her last 5. If you go back, her only losses are 3 losses to Carmouche and then a round 1 sub to Shakalova. Shakalova, I even picked her to beat Jena Bishop. And what happened? She almost beat fucking Jena Bishop until round 2, and then she ended up getting her neck. But how I see this fight, I think it's going to be the same way. If Velasquez can't stop the takedown, it's going to be a matter of time until Shakalova is going to transition, probably hold her a little bit on the ground. And I'd be shocked if it's another round 1 sub. If it is, we might need to see, you know, Miss Juliana Velasquez take her gloves off and just maybe put them down a little bit. But, yeah, I got Shakalova. I'm fine with that price tag. I got -210. I'm cool with that. Maybe I'll do a little 2-leg with Shakalova and Diggs. And maybe you can get a little minus money or slight plus. But, yeah, I'm perfectly fine betting this with a Shakalova.
See, I'm on the opposite end. This is underdog pick number 2 for me here. I think the market's going way too wide in one direction. Juliana Velasquez is like -230 in that first fight against Shakalova. And I think Shakalova was just able to surprise Velasquez as a big underdog in that spot versus the vet. It feels like this is the type of spot where you want to back the vet. As like you talked about, her only losses outside of that first round loss was just the Liz Carmouche, really. Now with her being more familiar with her game and then rematching it in such a short amount of time, I don't think that shit's about to go the same exact way that it did the first time. I don't think that she's just going to be able to catch her like that, the same techniques as she did before. Shakalova making that move down the flyweight, I definitely think she could be a weight bully in these spots, but I think this price tag's way off compared to where it was the first time. And I think this price tag's still off. I think the pick here and the bet should be Juliana Velasquez. I think she's going to bounce back against Shakalova.
You better stop the takedown, girl. If not, you're going to be on the same repeat.
She just got caught, man. I really think she just got caught. She underestimated this girl. She was like a short notice replacement, and she ended up getting caught in this submission. I think she's going to bounce back.
I'm not going to do a submission prop by any means. Even though she won by submission the first fight, this fight could be closer. It could definitely be one of those. If you see the overs, like over 2.5, it wouldn't shock me if it goes over.
I don't think she's just going to get that dominant. Bro, the way that she did that shit the first time was like, yeah, it was a one-of-a-kind type of night. But let's talk about lightweight division. Mads Burnell versus Robert Watley. Oh, boy. I'll take this one away here. It's hard to get good reads on Matt Burnell during this PFL run. It feels like every time his back is against the wall, he finds a way to pull out a decision. But since moving up the lightweight permanently, I feel like his wrestling game hasn't really fully translated over. He's been a little bit too reliant on his striking volume, and it feels like a lot of his wins are like just dog fights, like him just dogging through these wins, like that win over rising prospect Elvin Espinoza, and then the win versus Clay Collard in his home state last year. He's not completely cooked because J.J. Wilson's just that good of a prospect. There is a little bit of value here on taking him against a regional scene vet, Robert Watley. I don't know if I want to pull the trigger or not, but I'm thinking about Mads Burnell in the over 1.5 here in this fight. Joey, how are you feeling about this one?
I know this is Robert Watley's second stint. He originally was like 1-2. He lost to good guys, though. He lost to Chris Wade and he lost to Will Brooks back in the day. Then he made his way come back. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Yeah, I don't know what the thing with Mads Burnell went at 145. He was a freak of nature, beast, taking people down, just controlling them. I don't know if the cut just got too hard for him, and then he's like, "Look, if I'm gonna keep fighting, I'm just gonna stay at 55. He better wrestle. That's all I'm gonna say. Extreme Couture, you guys are wrestlers. You better implant the game plan. Wrestle, because Robert Watley has a good long reach. He has good power in his hands. If you try to fuck around and find out, guess what? Both of your losses in PFL are inside the distance. Watley could definitely do it, but I can never get a Mads Burnell fight right, even though I did play inside the distance. J.J. Wilson, that's my dude.
We still hit the over 1.5. That was crazy.
Reading that night because I think that was the night where he won, and then I planted my flag on fucking Phil Davis, and I was the happiest fucking guy that whole fucking night. But I'm slightly going Mads Burnell. I just hope he's going to wrestle this guy, because if not, the fight's going to play a lot closer. Because I actually do like that bet. I wish I could do it on my book with the fighter and then the over, get a way better line. But yeah, I'm going to go Burnell. I got to see if I'm going to get to it or not, because it's not a bad line.
Yeah, it's not a bad line. We'll see how that line will fluctuate. I just don't know how convicted I am to it, and I don't know if that fight is really a parameter for me. Meaning, like, I don't know if that fight's going to really. Why should that fight really make or break my night? It just seems like if you're leaving money on the table there. But let's go into a quick commercial break. If you guys haven't noticed already, the Pub Sports Radio contest is now members only for the UFC this weekend. And this is the first weekend. We got Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis, the champion, at plus monies. Who are you guys picking here in the Pub Sports Radio contest?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Oh, Billy, before we get to the next fight, I just want to give a couple shout outs. Lucky Power said fight goes the distance. Action Jackson, I'm in Vegas. Boy, you better make that bread before you take that ass home. Seth, what's up, boys? Lucky, smash the like button, share the video. And then Lucky's question is it only gold members? Because I'm a member.
I think you should be fine. I think it's just members only. I think I said it. I think I just said it wrong.
Okay.
I just think I said gold members, but I think it's just members only. But let's move into the next bout. This is the first one of 3 championship bouts for this card here. Bantamweight division, Marcelo Alves taking on Judson Wetzel. Both of these gentlemen started off as alternatives. So for them to kind of make the finals shows they've been undervalued by the market this whole entire season. We've seen money come in on Alves due to his striking pedigree, but he's looked good throughout this season. But it feels like, or I should say, I feel like the wrestlers that he's faced have kind of underestimated him prior, and Wetzel keeps being underestimated throughout this season as well. He's been on my radar ever since that Kazimov win, the betting odds favorite for this season. His wrestling pace and pressure has been able to overcome odds time and time again, and training at altitude, I think he's going to be able to push a pace and take over later in this fight if he doesn't get knocked out early. This is kind of like my Mulvi Kubilayev pick of the night here. I like Judson Wetzel here at plus money. I've been waiting for a while. I wanted to make sure he was going to make it towards the final, but I was a little bit shocked that this line was going one direction. How do you feel about this one, Joey?
Yeah, this is another one. I think Alves could fight at 125. He's a short little bastard, man, but I give him credit. He bites down his mouthpiece. He comes out swinging. He's on good fights. I remember that card. I forget who the fuck he was going to fight on the prelims. But Victor Hugo's opponent fucking dropped. He ended up taking the fight. And I was like, oh, Hugo should just whoop this kid's ass. You know, it's Victor fucking Hugo. And what happened? He beat Hugo. And that shit pissed me off because I had Hugo to finish out a parlay. Then we went against your boy, Jake Hadley. I'm like, Hadley, just mix it up on this guy. Nope, Hadley got his ass kicked. And now Wessel, he was the biggest underdog in the first round. He ended up, I think he was a plus 700 underdog. And then I think I picked Mondo against him because I was like, look, Mondo is going to mix it up. He went belt to ass on Mondo. I hate to say it. But yeah, I'm actually impressed with the run from a Wessel here. He's going to have a 5-inch height and a 4-inch reach advantage. So if Alves cannot close that distance, he's going to get stuck on the jab the entire night. And when he does try to over pursue, that's when I think Wessel will definitely change the levels and go for takedowns and control. If I was to do a flag, I'm not saying I'm not or I am, but I actually do like Wessel here a lot. I think he's going to mix it up, a good game plan. Being in altitude in Colorado definitely is going to help him go 5 rounds to control pace. Yeah, I think Wessel's going to win. It's a good price tag. I got plus 165, and yeah, I'm gonna see what the line is after the show, and then maybe I'll, give out some plays for tomorrow, which you definitely got to stay tuned for.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous because it's like one of those fights where I think he could definitely get knocked down in, but if he doesn't, this is gonna be like my underdog pick of the night. But
new member, Smoking Mirrors. What's up, Smoking?
Shouts to Smoking Mirrors, coming a member there. And shout outs to Gerardo Hernandez dropping his prediction there. Watley by decision there. Probably good plus money. I would imagine it'd be like plus 350, plus 300. But let's talk about this next one here. Co-main event. When the pioneers of women's MMA, women's flyweight division, Liz Carmouche versus Jena Bishop. Don't let that minus 200 price tag fool you. That price tag has gone way in one different direction. That line's all the way up to minus 370 now. Joey, how you feeling about this one?
Wait, you said who's 370? Liz Carmouche?
Yeah, that price tags. Oh no, it's back down to minus 200. Never mind.
Okay. So I see. Well, I was gonna say like, goddamn, I got a discount. I was gonna say I got a discounted ass. I got minus 185. But there is a story I actually told you last night that I was watching a video that had something to do with John Coachman, and it was at one point where Carmouche and Bishop was in the same gym training late rounds. They finally got to each other because no one else was on the mat. I guess they went like 2-3 rounds training on the mat. Carmouche came out in an interview, word by word, and I shit you the fuck not, I'm not lying about this, and said when she trained with Bishop, she originally said, man, accomplished grappler, I want to test my ground game. She said that she made Jena Bishop cry. Legit cry. So I think there's going to be a little bit of bad blood maybe in here. I think they'll be somewhat respectful because I really haven't seen too many bad bloods in PFL like that. But I got Carmouche, and I'll give you another reason why I'm also on Carmouche. And I'm going to give you an insane record that she's been on. Since 2020 through 2025, she's 11-1 throughout a 5-year span, beating different types of levels of competition. Her only loss as of late, she was a big dog versus Talia Santos, and Battalion Santos is also a different level beast and a lot younger. There's only one thing that only just a teeny beady slightly scares me when Carmouche fought what's her name? She's from Tough, but she ended up getting like a round 4 TKO. But that fight was very close, and she actually got taken down early. And if she gets taken down and she ends up on her back, and you got Jena Bishop on, it was that Bennett girl that went 4 rounds with her, and then Bennett ended up getting TKO late because she missed weight. If you end up bottom with Jena Bishop, you do not want that sauce because this woman is an insane grappler. But I think throughout 5 rounds, if Bishop can't get the takedowns early, it's just going to be a Liz Carmouche skyrocket all the way. Maybe she gets a late finish, maybe. Could be a 5-round decision where both fighters early have their moments. But I got Carmouche here. And you're getting minus 200 or even now less. To me, I think that's a discount.
A Deanna Bennett drop was not cards we're not in my cards. You know I love me some Deanna Bennett. Liz Carmouche, Jena Bishop. I think Jena Bishop does have one of the more entertaining grappling styles in MMA since she's made the transition over into the PFL. Liz Carmouche has been one of the pioneers of women's MMA, though. She's only gotten better with age, and I think her fight IQ and experience will be everything in this matchup. If Bishop isn't able to take this fight in the ground, I think she's going to look desperate on the feet. Striking at range with Liz Carmouche is just going to be terrible. It's just going to look terrible. She's been more than willing to go to the ground, but I think was her way to kind of stay fresh as the weight cuts caught up to her in last year's tournament. This was the first season that she's hired a nutritionist for the season, but I think it's paid off wonderfully in the win column. And I think some of her best performances have been this season. I think she's going to get this win over Jena Bishop, but Could be a little bit sweaty. I like the price tag, though, at minus 200. I would kind of take it straight or maybe at a parlay with something. But, Joey, how do you feel about this one? How do you feel about the total on this one? Because we have been hitting on the Carmouche ITD props.
Let me see. I got the total over under 4.5. The over is minus 105. The under is minus 130. So pretty much broke it down. If you tell me it stays standing, I think there's a chance the under happens. Because I think Bishop will get desperate. And once Carmouche does find her range and combinations, I think the striking's not even close. And I think she's going to throw combinations. And if Bishop is going to try to panic wrestle, I think Carmouche is going to keep letting her stand. And Bishop could turn into a punching dummy. And maybe the under could happen. But if you tell me it's closer, if Bishop does have early success with takedowns, and I'm slightly leaning the under 4.5. I think there's a chance that maybe in the championship rounds that Carmouche could definitely get the TKO. But I might just be fine just playing the money line and maybe parlay it with something else.
Yeah, I'm kind of cooling just on the money line this one. But let's talk about this lightweight championship bout. I thought it was going to be Brett Primus, and Alfie Davis had something to say about it. I'm glad I did not bet Brett Primus. I kind of learned my lesson. That one Brett Primus fight that he won against homeboy, the Brazilian kid, was kind of like the wake up call. Maybe Brett Primus isn't him anymore. Alfie Davis, though, I wish I would have bet him at plus money in that fight. But when I knew Joey was staying off of Brett Primus, I knew that was the right sign of, this is definitely the Alfie Davis spot. But I wasn't totally convinced. And I'm not convinced this weekend that he's going to beat Rabadonov. If you guys did not watch the Locker Room Talk podcast, the 3-leg slamma-jamma parlay for this weekend was Gotsi Friday night, Kai Asakura, and Khamzat Chimaev, #ANU. Joey, how do you feel about this one, though?
No, I remember when I was going to stay off that fight with Alfie Davis. Originally, I wasn't going to bet it. But I remember live betting Alfie Davis at like minus 125 versus Primus. And I was like, damn, Primus is really not getting these takedowns like that. So if that's the case, live bet Davis now. I put a good amount of money. It hit. And the same night with Rabadonov. I told people on the show, I put it out on Twitter, and I know I told the chat, play Rabadonov by knockout minus 135 versus Kevin Lee. That was the easiest money I made on PFL ever in my life. He got done early, slumped him. Now for this one, the line is going crazy. I see a minus 1,000. Oh, what's up, Cole? How you doing, brother? What's up, smoking? Yo, what's up, Gabe Ballers? We were just talking about you, my boy.
Smoking mirrors too, man. It's been around the block. We got Gabe Ballers. Gabe, I wish you would have heard my story rant a little bit earlier, but we'll go back into it.
Yeah, we'll go back to it. I got the favorite here. He had 2 cakewalk matchups to get to this point, and I'm not trying to say Alfie Davis is a cakewalk because he's not. He has that weird Wonder Boy Thompson kickboxing style to where he could stuff a couple takedowns early, but it's not going to be like that in the entire fight. I said Rabadonov by knockout versus Kevin Lee. I think he's going to submit Alfie Davis, and I know for a fact that line, I saw it earlier, it is that big plus money. I think it's plus 400 by sub.
That's pretty good odds.
Yeah. So, yeah, I got Rabadonov. Like, until I see otherwise, just pick him, dude. Like, I don't see many guys at this weight class beating him. I really don't. Rabadonov inside the distance. What'd you get that at, Gerardo? Because
hopefully we get the odds for the props tomorrow, but let's take a quick review glander across the card one last time. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe. We'll be going live Saturday for the UFC 319 card, but this is the little appetizers to the main event. Damian Nelson versus Isaiah Diggs. I liked Isaiah Diggs here. I think I'm going to stay away from the props in this fight. at first, when we first capped this, when this was supposed to be on the Atlantic City card, I was going to play Isaiah Diggs by decision or just fight goes to distance in general. But I think with a little bit of stuff marinating between the weeks and the price tag coming down, I like Isaiah Diggs to win just on the money line. How about you, Joey?
Yeah, I like Diggs just the money line by itself. Like, even though I said earlier in the interview, he was talking about, I want to get a finish. Look, we got an affordable line, not no bullshit 5-1. We got under -240. I'm fine with just playing the money line in a little 2-leg or 3-leg.
Yeah, this is underdog pick number 1, and this is the story game. We walked past Kennedy St. Louis, fucking dead on the boardwalk, and it was like me, you, Danny, Gabe, Ryan, and I believe somebody else. And we walked right past Kennedy St. Louis. Nobody said a fucking word to him, nor recognized him for jack shit. It was actually pretty crazy. I made a mental note of it. He's not one of my favorite fighters in the world. Francis Marshall, when I saw him at Caesars, I had to say what's up. But Kennedy St. Louis, that was like a mental note of it. But I was talking about how he has no aura. Chris Mixon is going to be my first underdog pick of the night for me here. Joey is also with me on that one. This was these are like a run of just parlay pieces, I guess you could say. Renat Kavilov, I think he's going to beat Vilson here. I think this girl De Sousa, we're going to try to attack her sub prop when that comes out tomorrow. And then Joey gave me a little bit of conviction here on Ali Walsh, Muhammad Ali's grandson here, to get back inside the win column. And then this is where me and Joey differ. This is our first different pick of the night here. I'm on Juliana Velasquez. I think she's going to spin the block on the girl here. She was like -230 the first time that they fought, and she ended up losing in the first round. And now this girl's the -200 favorite. And they're fighting within 6 months. I think this one goes a little bit different. Joey thinks the favorite's going to win here. That tells you that there's going to be some dissension of the night. And then this fight as well, Mads Burnell versus Robert Watley. Want to lean Mads Burnell, but I don't feel that convicted to bet that Mads Burnell. And Joey kind of had the same feeling. And then this one, this might be the collab dog pick of the night. Justin Wetzel for the bantamweight title. First of 3 title fights. I like Justin Wetzel. Joey likes Justin Wetzel. The market doesn't like Justin Wetzel, but it's the PFL. The market don't gotta agree with you. I watched Pineda go up like fucking 75 cents to $1 before we walked into the fucking arena, and I watched that boy get ragdolled for fucking 4 rounds until he quit. I don't believe in the market as much.
I don't either.
The PFL market, they just get steamed on parlays. Jena Bishop, Liz Carmouche. Talk about market. Market's coming down for this one. Liz Carmouche, I'm going with her. But Joey was a little bit more convicted on Liz Carmouche than I was. And then the pick of the night is going to be Gadzi Rabidanov, inside the distance, specifically by submission. Shouts to Joey tipping that one there. Joey, did I forget anything?
No, the only thing I will say is the first dog that we have in that boxing fight with Chris Mixon. One thing that I did hear, that one of his 2 main training partners he does train with out there in Florida, Mel Nagy comes down and trained with him, but one of his other main guys is Justin Gaethje. So he's getting good rounds in when it comes to at least sparring. So I like to at least see that. Outside of that, you pretty much nailed everything on the head.
All right, bet. So let's go on out of here. Until next time for the PFL, make sure you guys follow Joey DFS over on X and follow Billy Briz DFS over on IG at Getting Bills over on X, and check out pubsportsradio.com to see what picks we're going with for tomorrow night once we have props and angles out there. We gave out the angles on this episode. Now you got to see what we're putting our hard-earned money on. We gave you the game plan, the blueprint, but you got to get to the window yourself. Till next time here at Pub Sports Radio, make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, and join with us on Saturday. Joey, any closing words before we get on out of here?
Yeah, everyone that tuned in tonight, man, appreciate y'all tuning in. Without y'all, this show's not going to happen. As I said, even Billy's the one that said, yo, bro, since I got you into PFL, you want to do the shows? Originally, I was like, I don't know. But, ever since, he got me into it, I did my own studying for it. I always appreciate doing these shows, man. But yeah, definitely stay tuned. Follow me on X right down there, Joe DFS Betting. I usually post my bets between a couple hours before the card. I'm going to do some more deep diving once the morning comes, once I get my cup of coffee. But yeah, man, thanks for everyone tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button. And if you're not watching the premiere, comment in the comment below. I want to hear some of y'all thoughts and predictions on this card for tomorrow, man. Let's see if any good bets come out.
Yeah, shouts to the chat. Chat showed up, definitely showed out. We got Cole Stein dropping some heat in there. Cole Stein went on that fucking heater of winning those contests over the summer. Action Jackson in the building, Gerardo Hernandez dropping his picks in there. Gabe Baller laughing at the story there. Shouts to Smoke and Mirrors becoming a member again. Until next time here at Pub Sports Radio, we are out of here.